In this demonstration, I will be showing you how to create an OSM environment from an existing Revit environment. And for that, for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to select this very simple building, which hopefully will make things more easy to understand. The process starts with clicking on OSM bottom, which will trigger this window. In this window, you have to enter a bunch of numbers and select from a bunch of menus. So it is very important to note that OSM inherits its unit of scale from Revit. So if your Revit is based on meters, OSM will be based on meters. And if Revit is based on feet and inches, then OSM will be based on feet and inches. And so the first option is to select the level on which you want to run the simulation. So let's say level 1, and we have to have the height of the agent, which means that anything higher than that is considered a visual obstacle, a visual barrier, but anything lower than that will be considered a physical barrier, which doesn't necessarily block the view. And we would be approximating all of the curves with polygons, and for that we need to have a maximum approximation length and minimum approximation lengths. And for the last option, it is important to note that OSM doesn't include any doors. So the OSM simulations will be running as if there is no door. All of the doors are open, unless you say otherwise. And if you want to say that I want to include this door, then you have to select it. So for instance, in this case, we have this area which is maybe a storage, and it's not going to be part of our simulation. Then we can say that, okay, we want to keep this door in the simulation. And when you hit this done button, the parameters are used to create a 2D OSM environment, which we can see in here. And you can see that, so for instance, the curves had been approximated with polygons, and then we have barriers which are physical only. So this is a physical barrier which is in gray, and we have visual barriers which are black. And to see the impact of the height of the agent, I want you to uh, pay attention to the alternative that I'm going to choose. So let's say that the height of agent is 1.7, which is the height of a child, for instance. And let's not include this door. What we will get is actually something entirely different. You can see that the windows are not in here, and you can also see that even the furniture legs are considered as visual barriers. And because you have not selected this door, the whole space, the whole field is actually integrated into one field. This is probably not very useful if you want to run a realistic assumption with a full-grown adult agent. And let's go back and let's put it at the same 5 feet height and make this 1.0.1 and select no doors. So if you compare this environment with the previous environments, you can see that the curves are much smoother, as if we have a real circle. I'm not sure if this level of accuracy will be helpful, and but you can do that if you want. And we can see the windows as physical barriers. So basically, OSM environment includes, in 2D, includes three different types of polygons: field, visual barriers, and physical barriers. Let me turn off the visual and physical barriers. So this is our field. This is the area on which the simulation will run, and it doesn't have any intersection, this polygon, with the physical or visual barriers. And We have physical barriers which will block the view, which will block the physical accessibility, but will not necessarily block the view. So for instance, if I want to travel from this point to this point, I cannot travel directly in a line, and I have to get a long detour and then come to the destination that I want. But they don't necessarily block the view. For that reason, we want some barriers that block the view, and then we will get the visual barriers, which are in this case dark, and they block the physical accessibility and they block the view at the same time. So when the parameters are set in here, then from here you cannot change the curve approximation, you cannot change the height, and you have to stick with them uh, throughout the simulation. But if you're not happy with the way that they look, then you can go to the menu and then you can change the way that they look, or you can hide them. I will run some changes just for the sake of demonstration.